All right, welcome back. Very pleased to have the senator with us, Mike Fesi. And sometimes on this show, as we're looking over things that are coming across the chute here, so to speak, we see things that really don't look interesting, but when you start reading them, they're very interesting and they're very poignant. And one of them we're talking about is a Senate concurrent resolution number 68 by Senator Fesi. So I'm going to let him explain to you what this is all about because it's very interesting to me, but I'll let him put it in his own words. Senator, good to have you.
Thank you, Martin. Glad to be here.
This is unique.
Yeah, I was digging through some stuff and, trying to see all these executive orders our president was signing, and I came across this one. It's environmental justice that he created the Department of Environmental Justice. And so I said, well, what is this going to be? So I started digging in, and the more I read, the more concerned I got. So I turned it over to my Senate attorneys and asked them, look, y'all read into this and see if I'm figuring out the same thing that I'm figuring out, and y'all come back and let me know. And so when they came back to me and they said, Senator, this is going to be legalized racketeering. I said, well, I need y'all to go back and we need to put a resolution together so the state of Louisiana can protect themselves from stuff like this.
So in your own words, what's the gist of this? My take was that the presidency, the administration, is trying to control things in the state, which first of all got my attention because I thought we had states' rights and different things. So is he going over his boundary there?
Yeah, this is totally against our Constitution. What it basically does, it creates the Environmental Justice Department within the natural resources. And that gives them the right to go subpoena any company they want in our state or really throughout the country. But what I've done by putting this resolution together, they can subpoena any company in the state to go in and investigate and see what environmental concerns they have. Now, the part of the legalized racketeering is basically it says this is the problems we found on your property or this is the problems you're doing, but we got to pay this guy. You got to use these people to come and fix it.
Yeah, I think everybody is okay with if somebody's dumping some real hazardous stuff. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. But if they say you're dumping hazardous stuff, but by the way, I got my cousin-in-law in Nevada who's going to come down and have to be the cleanup guy. That's where they go overboard.
That's where it's way overboard. And not only that, is what makes it overboard is a lot of the things they're picking out is not really a lot of environmental concerns. They have the right to write their own regulations and decide whether you're going to be breaking the law or not. Not something that you've been trained for years. Us here in the Louisiana in our industry, in the petroleum industry, we're probably the safest actors in doing anything, when it comes to environmental concerns. And so what it is, they're trying to figure out how they can go around those things that we've already fixed and seeing what they can do to make it worse for us.
When did you first get wind that this was coming down the pipe?
I read about it probably, I guess it was probably in April or so. I think he signed it a little earlier than that. But I just felt, when I started digging in and the more I dug is that we had to come up with a resolution. And basically, to make it simple, my resolution strictly states that our Attorney General of the state of Louisiana, if anybody gets subpoenaed and wanting to come in and under this act, that he has to file suit, for the company and protect them, and basically say, look, this is unconstitutional, and we're going to fight all the way on this.
So this could be a very extended fight. Do you think maybe is it just a lot of posturing by the administration, or are they serious about this?
Well, they're putting the office together now, so it just depends on who they appoint and how deep they want to get. Well,
they got a lot of offices they're putting
right,
together.
So
depends on who they're paying to run the offices, and follow the money. Follow the money.
Basically, that's what this is. Follow where the money's going to go, because the money's going to stay within their group to hire more investigators, to go out and give more fines, and just build a whole nother.
Is it a money grab?
I think it's a little bit of both. It's a money grab, and it's more part of control, because then they start controlling what you do.
Yeah. It goes back to the green issue and everything else?
Basically. And like I said, I'm totally for keeping our environment clean. I'm no way at all wanting to harm our environment. But when you start stepping over the bounds, I just felt I needed to do this resolution. And what was great about it, it's so bad that we got 35 yays in the Senate, no nays, and we got 95 yays in the House and no nays.
That don't happen often.
No, not for something like this, very controversial. And it goes to prove that we got to protect our businesses, because our whole economy in the state of Louisiana, I always say, and I've been saying for years, we're the heartbeat of America, and we need to be the first ones to stand up to this.
And what I'll do in the second segment, we'll go over it a little bit more and talk about some of the facts of the resolution. It's resolution number 68. But I also want to ask you about the Attorney General and how far he's willing to go. We know he's not against getting in the boots and really getting after it, you know. So definitely this is going to be interesting as I saw it, because once again it's pitting the feds against the state level, and we all know about states' rights. This is one of those situations where they seem to be really placing themselves as the administrator, the keeper, everything. They're gonna do everything when it comes to this. So we're talking about Senate concurrent resolution number 68. Trying to explain it to you a little more is that the Biden administration wants to get into some environmental issues here in the states, and Senator Fesi and them have put together their concurrent resolution. Let me read some of it, and I'll get the senator's comments on this as we go. And I'll start off. Concurrent resolution to urge and request the Attorney General to review the creation of the Office of Environmental Justice within the Environment and Natural Resources Division of the United States Department of Justice, monitor the office's operations, and take any actions necessary, including coordinating actions with Attorney General or other states to ensure the office's compliance with all laws, including the United States Constitution. Whereas President Biden signed Executive Order 14008, tackling the climate crisis at home and abroad, on January 27, 2021. He goes on to say in y'all resolution, whereas the express purpose of the environmental justice enforcement strategy is to selectively utilize the federal civil and criminal enforcement apparatus to prioritize enforcement against certain entities and to attempt to create economic equity in undeserved and marginalized communities, all under the guise of environmental justice. Pretty strong words there.
It's very strong, and that's why I was very concerned that we needed to push something through. And like I said, once we passed it, you know, put it on the floor of the Senate and the floor of the House, everybody jumped on board, because we need every state to create a resolution like this to protect us, you know, because it's strictly against our constitutional rights.
You said you had 35 yeas in the Senate and 95
in the House.
No nays.
No nays, not in either house, in either the Senate or the House.
Okay, so in this also, let me just read those things. It goes on natural resources, civil rights, and civil divisions, the Executive Office for U.S. Attorneys, the Offices of Justice Programs, Tribal Justice, and Access to Justice, the Community Relations Service, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the Department of Justice's law enforcement agencies, which often facilitate payments to non-government third parties who are neither victims nor directly involved in the enforcement action, and which may bear a tenuous connection to redress of a violation, and whereas monetary penalties are imposed in enforcement actions to address the gravity of the violation and to recoup the economic gain realized through noncompliance within the law. They sort of control everything there.
Everything. I mean, you know, under this department, it would control everything a business does, because they just make the rules. I mean, you have no stance, and that's why it's unconstitutional.
How can one, so you're in the business, almost everybody in this area Now there's offshoots, people in medical and people in my business, but we're all sort of dependent on the oil and gas industry. This is really going to be, I mean, you're talking to people that own businesses. What are they saying about this?
Well, everyone I'm talking to is, I'm giving them a heads up that they're gonna have the Attorney General to back them. Talking to Jeff in his office, they are willing to do whatever it takes to fight against this, because like I said, his department, the way he's running his office, that anything against the Constitution, we're gonna go battle. And that's
what was his
important.
words? You're talking to him. Was he shocked to see this coming down the pipe?
Yeah, well, he just is such a big step over the bounds, that it's hard to believe that they would even try to develop this office.
It doesn't shock me.
No, not with all the things
I'm not
going
shocked
on.
about a whole lot of things
No,
nowadays,
no.
to be honest with you.
No.
But let me go on to read. I want to make sure I get it in. We'll come back and sort of recap on the last segment. Whereas current Department of Justice policy allows for the input of unelected officials in selecting SEP recipients and beneficiaries and does not require the authorization of Congress. That's a big statement.
That's a big one.
They can do it without
That's a
Congress.
yeah, they're
They're
willing
independent.
to take control.
Presenting a conduit for corruption and undue influence in the enforcement of environmental law outside the bounds of restitution. It seems to me they totally divorced themselves of the proper channels to go through. They control everything, so they're really subrogating everything to push their agenda.
That's it. And that way there's no congressional oversight whatsoever. The U.S. Senate, the U.S. House would have no control over their actions, and that's where we got to put a stop to it.
This is incredible reading. Let me just say, therefore be it resolved that the legislature of Louisiana does hereby urge and request the Attorney General to review the creation of the Office of Environmental Justice within the Environment and Natural Resources Division of the United States Department of Justice, monitor the office's policies and operations, and take any actions necessary, including coordinating actions with attorneys general of other states to ensure the office's compliance with all laws, including the United States Constitution. And there you have it. And once again, he said Senate voted 35 yeas, 0 nays. House voted 95 yeas, 0 nays. And I got to tell you, I'm astonished at some of the things I've read. The senator called it legalized racketeering. Now, that's pretty strong.
Well, that's basically what I got from my Senate attorneys. They came back to me and said that's what it is, and basically that's why we said it in the resolution that we got to put a stop to this.
Yeah, and so you've talked to the attorney. Just in wrapping up, before we get on to some other business, in wrapping up, you've talked to the Attorney General. He's willing to take the hit. So at best, they can come down. We know the power of the feds. They come down. They could do whatever was in their power to do it. But he would enjoin at that point and try to
Yeah,
hold it back.
if the company decides they won't help, I got a resolution that says that they got backup. I don't want any company in our state to feel like they're not being taken care of, and that's what I wanted to do with this resolution, to make sure that they know they got the backbone of the state behind them.
Yeah, this is pretty, we normally get, I'll be honest, we get some fluff stuff, but this is serious stuff.
This
is serious.
This is big time. This can control almost every business we got in the state if we let it get out of hand.
But we're not only talking about Louisiana.
No, that's why I'd love to see all the other states pass a resolution like this.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's just a matter of time before they would latch on to it and at least give it a look.
Yeah.
Can't tell you how they'd vote, but anyway. All right, what's some other things that you're pleased with that took place in this session?
Well, in this past session, I'm very pleased with our delegation from our area. We all worked together. It was great teamwork. And, if you do the numbers and calculate the money that we brought home as a team to Terrebonne and Lafourche Parish, was top in the state, So, I mean, we can't ask for much more than that. And
Yeah, per capita, when I was looking at the numbers, I do remember when Gordy was a state rep, there was a lot of money flying in, and I'm looking at this amount of money, and I said, wow, per capita, we got more than the New Orleans area.
That's right.
I think the only one that got more was Lafayette, I think,
That was
right?
well, you know, they had some issues that they were trying to get taken care of too. So, you know, it was just whatever, you know, we as a state as a whole felt needed to come first, you know.
Yeah.
But that way we was able to help out a lot of things, a lot of one-time things as money spent. We didn't create any new, no organizations or something that's going to cost money time over time, you know, and down the road be short on budget falls. So all the big one-time money we made sure it went to one-time projects.
And I think you were able to get Reggie Duper and all them some monies for the levee district.
Yeah, they're excited about that, and we was able to get $3 million for the airport to start that new drone division, because I had everybody look at that, and if we can bring in a lot of outside investment. A lot of outside investment comes when the state is on board. You get a lot of outside investment. So hopefully we can build the biggest drone division in the country right here, you know, with all the offshore work that the drones can do.
Yeah. And of course, you're around my age, so I don't mind saying it. As you're looking and you're seeing the younger generation of elected officials, do you sometimes feel like more like a mentor, or are you watching them come up? They're pretty aggressive and they've done a pretty good job. And we've had so many years of no money that when you get a little money, it's good to see a lot of that coming this way, isn't it?
Yeah, it really feels good. I mean, like I said, my first term has been very successful, I feel. I've went do what I said I was going to go do, and trying to look out, just like this resolution, trying to look out for a better good down the road. And I think that it was a very good session, and hopefully we can keep this thing going in the direction. I know with all the inflation, we got a lot of work to do. The biggest thing, I've been on the phone all day. I'm not only getting homeowners to call me about insurance costs, but now I'm getting the insurance agents and stuff to call me. That's the concerning part we got to fix and work on quickly.
I mean, I know personally, I'm still in negotiations with my insurance company over my personal items. Pretty much got it worked out here on the business side. But I talked to a lot of people, and they're still haven't got to mediation yet. Or some at lunch just today, someone's on their fourth adjuster. I personally had 4 adjusters on my personal thing. It's got to drive you crazy as a senator seeing this come through, knowing that the lobbyists are right across the hall trying to get their stuff passed. It's got to drive you crazy.
It's really tough, and the hard part about this is, and being on the insurance committee makes it, you know, to where I'm really right in the middle of what's happening. But the key thing is it's such a fine line of what restrictions we can put on insurance companies, because then we're not going to have anybody to buy from.
Right.
And it's really a tough situation. I was talking to a banker earlier before I came on the show. You know, like you said, why not spread the risk? You know, why does it all have to be regional insurance? Like, you know, if the government requires you to have flood insurance on any mortgage you got, as long as you're in the flood zone, how about making that flood insurance for everyone that has a mortgage? And that way it cuts the premium. We spread the risk, you know?
What I'd like to do is get you back on just for insurance.
Okay.
Because you're on that committee, and maybe bring a couple of your friends on that committee too.
Hey, we can do that.
Yeah.
Actually, we're having a joint insurance meeting on October the 18th. We're doing a special meeting just to try to figure some of this out. So I'm asking for anybody's got any ideas, send them to me, and I'd be glad to bring them up.
Is
on
that open to cameras?
It should be, yeah.
All right, I'll get with you on that. All right.
Okay.
Thank you,
All right.
Senator. We appreciate
Okay.
you coming on.
All right, thank
All
you.
right, there you have it. Senator Mike Fesi breaking some news here. The feds want to come in and govern, so this bill is certainly going to be interesting to watch. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.